Hi everyone, my name is Cristina Carter, and today I will be presenting on the Maria Lionza pilgrimage and movement in the midst of COVID-19. So as we get started, I think it's important to note that Maria Lionza has over 20 origin stories. However, its most popular one dates back to 1502. It's estimated that approximately 1 out of every 3 Venezuelans either practice or believe in the movement, and such practitioners include current President Nicolas Maduro, as well as former President Hugo Chavez. So let's talk a little bit about the pilgrimage in and of itself and some changes that I've made in my research due to the pandemic. Space has a direct influence on humans. The study of religion and space should focus on the geographical space surrounding an individual to better understand religion. As spatial humanities advance their interpretation of how geography frames cultural boundaries, it stresses the direct influence of natural and built physical environments as it has on humans. It's important that religious scholars research how space can give an alternative understanding of circulation, mobility, transnational flows, and religious practices. Space also shapes the objects or materials used in rituals. Through spatial and material terms, one gains a better understanding of religious practices and rituals found in the Maria Lionza religious movement and its pilgrimage, Maria Lionza. This project will use the following framework in relation to spatial humanities, including maps, distance, design, and identities to further understand religious phenomenon in the midst of the pandemic. Every year on October 12th, thousands of devotees gather in honor of Maria Lionza. The pilgrimage is met with great honor and enthusiasm throughout the nation. Maria Lionza is the second most popular religion in Venezuela after Catholicism. The pilgrimage lasts about a week and a half and takes place on Mount Sorte, the same mountain where Maria Lionza first appeared. And it is said that she still lives today. Followers claim that in the mountain she watches over pilgrims while helping them heal and regain hope. During these times of great uncertainty, Venezuelans and all those that attend must put forth extra effort and sacrifice in order to attend the annual pilgrimage. Pilgrims attending recent journeys to Mount Sorte have witnessed an increased agency than in the past. These pilgrims honoring Maria Lionza are seeking more power as their health, finances, and society steadily declines. Similarly, the pilgrimage is shifting from an individual to a collective focus, and this is especially seen in the pandemic, where the goal is societal restoration. Practitioners of Maria Lionza are calling for health and social justice. Maria Lionza followers are performing rituals during the annual pilgrimage that hold great potency and have the power to change society for the better. As the pilgrimage gains popularity, it is said to have approximately 50% of Venezuelans attend. However, the state is becoming more and more involved, and even more so, I've been told, since the pandemic. The relationship between Maria Lionza and the state is not new. Dating back to the 1960s, the state has used Maria Lionza as a way to separate themselves and gain assurance from followers of religious movements such as Maria Lionza, other than the Catholic Church, who opposes them. As Catholicism denounced the lack of human rights the Venezuelan state practiced and lack of democracy, the more the state used religious movements such as Maria Lionza as a force to regulate the people. Thus, a nation that is predominantly Catholic began to question their faith and religious identity. So how is all of this going back to how my research has differed due to the pandemic and what challenges I'm overcoming? So, like all of us, I was unable to conduct international field work. I was planning on attending the pilgrimage personally in October. However, I've decided that I will be using mapping in the form of geographic information system as a framework for gathering, managing, and analyzing data. Rooted in the science of geography, GIS integrates many types of data. It analyzes spatial location and organizes layers of information into visualizations using maps and 3D scenes. With this unique capability, GIS reveals deeper insights into data, including patterns, relationships, and situations, helping users make smarter decisions. As John Corrigan notes in his book, Religion, Space, and the Atlantic World, religious scholars need to pay more attention to geographical space, and I aim on doing just that. So I will be using GIS mapping and incorporating it in my research amidst the pandemic in 3 different ways. The first step invites participants in the movement active via social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp to input their data using the ArcGIS Survey 123 app. The ArcGIS Survey 123 app is a completely free, form-centric solution for sharing, creating, and analyzing data and surveys. It's used to create smart forms with simple logic, defaults, and support for multiple languages. It collects data via web or mobile devices. In this specific situation, we're going to discuss how we're going to use both web and mobile devices, even when disconnected from the internet, which is perfect for our pilgrims on Monsorte. It helps us analyze results quickly and upload data securely for further analysis. I personally have been in contact with participants via means of social media. Therefore, I know for a fact they have access to the internet and or a mobile device on their computer. The GIS Arc Survey 123 app will develop a GIS map of practitioners and their geographic location. This will help analyze the transnationality of the movement. It will also allow a history of data mining to begin, allowing the geographic location of followers to be recorded and stored. This can be used as a means of understanding mobility patterns of the movement in real time and the future. The second step of GIS mapping allows a better understanding of mobility, circulation, and transnationalism by applying position tracking and GIS mapping on pilgrims participating in the annual pilgrimage, and will enable a geographic interpretation of ritual never seen before. Once again, it will enable a geographic interpretation of ritual never seen before. Using position tracking in order to establish a real-time situational or operational picture of pilgrims will give real-time information such as their location, terrain, and the importance of geographical space during ritual. Taking into consideration that the pilgrim itself is located in a rural area, using cell phones as trackers in order to establish real-time situational and operational picture is the best option. Using satellite-based tracking systems on their cell phones means that one must provide solar chargers for each pilgrim participating in the study, which I plan on doing so. Using this information will give data including the speed of trackers or pilgrims, their location, distance walked per day, and how it changes throughout the 7 to 10 day pilgrimage. This method may be used in the future in the movement's annual pilgrimage, giving insight on geographic mapping trails and environmental patterns year to year. Position tracking has been documented in several countries, including the United States, as serving real-time and current situation efficiency, while in turn helping search and rescue missions. It would be interesting to note how pilgrims' speed differs at the beginning, during, and the end of the pilgrimage. It's also just an added bonus that this feature could also be used in case of an emergency situation where one of the pilgrims participating might get injured or lost. This information will further the study of spatial thinking, geography, and religion. The third way I plan on using GIS mapping includes a map of the pilgrims being available for others to view online. This will allow followers and others interested in the movement to take part in the pilgrimage when they cannot physically be there through a virtual space. This connection found by viewing walkers on the pilgrimage in real time will demonstrate how space is not only physical but also virtual. By using conceptualized frameworks of space on the body and territory, we can understand what geographic boundaries are managed or held in rituals. This leads us to how, in my research, I have incorporated distance given the pandemic. Studying how distance influences the organization of space in Maria Lionza, we'll analyze how rituals and practices found in the movement have adapted to spatial ordering and reordering. Using virtual space, my study demonstrates that distance makes the religious movement stronger in recent times. Since the pandemic, practitioners of the movement gather on a weekly basis via live video found on Instagram or Facebook in order to discuss a new theme relating to the movement. Again, each week. Such themes include healing rituals, historical background of the movement, and even an analysis of the different courts or cortes that make up the pantheon of spirits of the movement. While gathering information on virtual interactions within the movement since March, I have noticed an increase in the number of viewers as well as the number of followers found in the movement via social media platforms. Taking this into consideration, I hypothesize that distance is not a factor practitioners feel they need to overcome. Although the virtual space is completely material and industrial, it is a transfer to another world, which does not possess an objective world. In all, it actually brings together another level of the world into a territory of human existence. Again, I hypothesize and I state through my research since March that distance has actually helped create a transnational understanding of the Venezuelan diaspora, with members located in countries such as Colombia, Ecuador, El Salvador, Panama, Mexico, the United States, Spain, Russia, China, Vietnam, and Taiwan. Technology has helped spread the growth of the movement. In order to understand the movement's pattern, it's also important to note its design. So, one must take into consideration that the movement itself is designed in the sense that movement in space of practitioners is directed by the state creating a spatial hegemony. This movement is occurring due to the economic and political crisis Venezuelans are facing. Forced movement creates a weak spatial identity that reorders space. During this reordering, there has been an increase in the number of Maria Lionceros seen on social media platforms. Understanding virtual space means one must have an understanding of ontology. The removable of space from one to another causes religious communities to rethink who they are and where they belong. In addition, there are two spatial worlds. There's the geographic world as well as the virtual world. Joseph G. Smith writes that virtual space is both meaningful and purposeful. Maria Lionza originated from the integration, removal, and recreation of space. The movement has been influenced by indigenous people of Venezuela, Spanish conquistadors practicing Catholicism, and West African beliefs practiced by slaves that were forced to coexist in the same space due to colonization. How does this new virtual space give meaning to ritual space? Dating back to the early 1500s, analyzing Maria Lionza's history, rituals, and transgression over time, one can understand the cultural and political foundation of Venezuela. The story begins off the mountain of Sorte, also known as the Mountain of Good Luck, in the state of Uruguay, in which the Indian chief named Kaki Uruguay had a daughter born with green eyes. She was named Princess Yara. Others feared the princess because she had eyes different than theirs. She also represented that she was half Spanish and that there was a blending or mixture of cultures beginning. It was decided that she would be sacrificed to the god of the river. This god took shape in form of a giant serpent that lived in the river nearby. When Chief Kaki Uruguay realized his people wanted to kill his own flesh and blood, he immediately hid the princess in a cave located on Mount Sorte. However, space being shared in a new nationality erased into an indigenous one in more than one ways. Being said that this also includes a virtual space without boundaries. So in this origin story, it's explained that Princess Yara actually escapes from the cave that she is being held captive, and for the first time recognizes an image of herself in the river. The god of the river, which takes form and shape of a serpent, also falls in love with her beauty, swallows her whole, however is condemned by the god of the mountain that is watching above. The serpent, or god of the river, is killed while Maria Lionza is resurrected, and is said that she still lives today. Exploring how memory and images such as location is a well-developed theme dating back centuries. However, recent research of this spatial learning shows how the human brain organizes activity in the world and recalls events. Spatially enabled practice of mnemonics deals with not only the business of sorting thoughts, it also frames creative and future-oriented thinking. The importance of space and its connection to culture, heritage, identity, and memory development show how it can be used as a means to erase memories and reconstruct identities. If we are to understand space, we must consider its symbolic meaning and its complex impact upon behavior, as it is mediated by the conjugative process. As Corrigan explains, one must be attentive to space and recognize how cultures are constructed out of space. Spatial thinking explains how mental production, organization, and archiving influences our knowledge. Understanding how images frame creativity and future-oriented thinking, and the importance of physical space and cultural construction of space is crucial, especially during a world crisis such as the pandemic. I aim to further understand the migration pattern, circulation, and history of the movement, especially during the pandemic, through GIS mapping of social media followers, pilgrims, and those following the pilgrims via an online platform, giving followers real-time data, including the pilgrim's location and distance traveled. This is especially useful for those that are unable to attend due to the pandemic or forced relocation from Venezuela due to its economic and political turmoil. This method may be used to further understand pilgrimages throughout the world. Thank you.